Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. Today I'm going to share my experience with the DIY Detail Gold Standard Cut Pad. Now, this is a short nap wool pad, the purple wool similar to Lake Country with a foam interface. So this would be the pad you choose when you want aggressiveness, something to go after heavy swirling, deeper scratches, and heavy oxidation. On the test panel here, we'll team up the cut pad with the Gold Standard spray polish. And you probably remember this test panel. We tested quite an aggressive pad on this panel as well, the one out of Poland. If this one is just as aggressive, then you have something that is a little bit more local to order and maybe add to your arsenal. So we'll go right down the middle of the two paths that we made, testing the last pad, and we'll see how far we can get. 2500 grit, 1500 grit, then 1000, and then we put some marks in from 600 grit sandpaper, which can be quite difficult to remove with some pads. The panel here, hardness is medium leaning towards hard. Let's take a path down to the end and back between the third and the fourth speed setting, moderate pressure, and correction speed, 1 inch every second or two. That will do it. You do need to remember to clean out the pad between every pass if you can, at least every panel. The fibers will get matted eventually with spent polish or compound. Clean them out. Forced air, pad cleaner, whatever you think is best, whatever you have around you. Let me wipe off the residue and bring you guys in for a closer look. Looking at each section, it blazed through the 2500, 2000 grit, 1500 grit, and normally it starts to give pads trouble when it gets to the 1000 grit or lower. This one here did perfectly fine, just as good as the last pad we tested. Besides using the sun overhead, we'll take a closer look using the swirl finder, and then we'll break out the gloss meter and see if there's a difference between the path that we just made and the previous path from the pads that we tested in other videos. Let's get our measurements in the 600 grit sand mark area. Again, any pad that can remove these is impressive and very aggressive. And indeed, you'll see the gloss meter readings, or the best improvement is made in the path that we just made with the pad we're using today. Very impressive. Let's switch to a different situation. For those of you that work on RVs or boats or jet skis, gel coat and its oxidation can be a bear to remove. A pad like this would be perfect if it's effective. We're going to stick with the same team, attach the pad to the same polisher, and 3 pea-sized drops of the DIY Gold Standard spray polish. One quick trip to the left and one to the right. Let me get a towel, wipe off the residue, and get you guys in an angle where you can see the improvement. And this has really cut off a lot of that oxidation. And we're even starting to see a little bit of gloss out of that aged gel coat. Again, very impressive. And with very little effort, you can see the jump in gloss. I mean, absolutely massive jump in gloss with just 2 quick passes. Okay, let's switch to yet another situation you may run into. Clear coat. Medium, maybe leaning a little towards hard, and has swirls and a little bit of scratching, patterns from a car wash. And that pattern is more obvious on the side of the vehicle, so that's where we're going to work on the rear quarter panel. So I mask off a small area and we'll do a little bit of correction, see if there's a 50-50 shot to see, and see how the pad performs. And of course the shop manager checks in to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be. That will do it, a crisscross pattern equal to 2 passes. Let me grab a microfiber, wipe off that residue, and remove the masking tape, and we'll come in for a closer look. And indeed, you'll see that it has removed the scratches and swirls from the car wash. So that gives you 3 different situations and how the pad can perform in those situations. I hope that helps. It's a decent pad. I definitely have added it to my arsenal. Excellent on a long throw polisher, a 21 millimeter throw. That will do it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section. Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you in the next video.